Welcome to WTA Presents. I'm Chris Graham, and I'm so pleased to be joined by Paul Reisler. And Paul will be performing at the Gateway on Friday, June 1st at 8 p.m. Paul Reisler and 1,000 Questions. And so I should tease a little bit later, we're going to hear a song or two from Paul. He's going to play for us right here. And so keep in tune with that. But first, Paul, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your musical career.
Well, I had a band called Trapezoid that I started back in 1975. And wonder of wonders, we got a record contract at our very first performance. So it took off from there pretty immediately. And at the heyday of Trapezoid, we were doing a couple hundred concerts a year. Trapezoid lasted for around 20 years. It had its great decade and some others where it wasn't quite as great. But the music was always really quite wonderful. About a dozen years ago, I started a program called Kid Pan Alley, where we go into schools and we write songs with kids. We've done about over 2,000 songs with over 30,000 children all around the country, from Florida to Hawaii to Virginia. And that's really become my passion, writing the songs. And some of the times we make CDs of them. We did one in Nashville that got a Grammy nomination that had Delbert McClinton and Kix Brooks and Susie Boggess and the Nashville Bluegrass Band and Amy Grant and all kinds of wonderful artists. And the one you just held up is one we made in Charlottesville, songs we wrote with the kids in Charlottesville. It has Cracker on it and John McCutcheon and Sissy Spacek and about 15 other amazing artists. Mm-hmm. And so I started... there was this musician that we'd been playing with off and on throughout the history of Trapezoid since the early 80s when we first met him, a guy named Howard Levy, who was probably the most phenomenal musician I've ever known, a great harmonica and keyboard player. And Howard would come on special tours with us in Trapezoid and play with us, and he played on all of our records. After Trapezoid was over, I was doing so much Kid Pan Alley, in a way I was missing doing some of my own music that I wrote for adults and not children's music. So Howard was generous enough to join me in this band, and I got Amy Speece, who someone I've worked with for quite a while, and Joe Craven. Joe Craven was in the Jerry Garcia band and then the Grisman Quintet for about 15 years. Howard has played with just about everybody. He's on over 200 or 300 albums at this point. But what he's best known for these days is he was a founding member of Bela Fleck and the Flecktones and is back to playing with the Flecktones again. So it's really fun for me to get to do concerts like this, to hear my music played by such stellar musicians. And what's so much fun about it for me is they're such great improvisers. And so it always goes off in some totally unexpected kind of way, and we're just following where the music leads us.
So Paul Reisler and 1,000 Questions, and I got another CD here at Night the Roses Tango. We'll have more information on the Wayne Theater website and also Augusta Free Press website about Paul's music. So how much does the music, the kids' music and the adult music, how much is there back and forth between the two, since you have the two distinct ways of going about producing music?
Well, we do some Kid Pan Alley songs in the concert because the Kid Pan Alley songs are very, very sophisticated. When I first started Kid Pan Alley, I realized that kids made the greatest co-writers. And as adults, we think, well, you're writing kids' music and it's dumbed down. But when you're writing songs with kids, it's anything but dumbed down. In fact, some of the most sophisticated songs I've written have been written with elementary school kids. They're a never-ending source of both inspiration and imagination. So we'll do some Kid Pan Alley songs. Mostly we'll do my songs and instrumentals, but we'll do one or two songs from each of the members of the band. Also, these are all very prolific composers.
So you get to do this for a living. Maybe cite some of your musical influences and maybe how you've adapted over the years. 30 plus years, it sounds like, of playing music professionally. Just talk about, I guess your influences and how you've grown as a musician over the years.
Well, what I've always tried to do was do things that were way beyond my abilities and where I would really learn a lot. Trapezoid started off doing some fairly traditional music, fairly early on evolved into original music. But as it evolved, our ears were always very open to all kinds of things. So we were very heavily influenced by world music, by classical music, and certainly by folk music. Over the years, I've done many, many different things. I did a lot of music for theater. And 2 years ago, I had the premiere of a full-length piece I wrote for orchestra and narrator with my friends Tom Paxton and Art Wheeler. And that was quite an experience to write a half an hour of music for orchestra and narrator. Just finished writing a Kid Pan Alley musical where I've written all the songs with the kids, but I've also written the script for it. And so we're going to start working on that some this summer. We're doing a week-long workshop for kids in July at Live Arts in Charlottesville, where we'll take a section of that and work it up. So I try and keep involved in things where I don't know what I'm doing, so I can keep learning. And I think when you do that, the breadth of what you can do grows fairly exponentially.
One more question, and then I promise music. You're in here in this venue. We're in the Wayne Theater's Gateway. You play, I'm sure, in front of all size of venues. This is an intimate venue, I guess. Do you have a preference as far as the size venue you play in?
Oh, I prefer intimate venues because, you know, the song is between you and the audience. The song isn't us doing it and you listening, but the song exists in the center because the audience, the way in which the audience listens, influences how you play. And in a small, intimate situation, you can do that. In a huge venue, there's a wall between you and the audience. And the wall is distance, the wall is bright lights, and this need to be larger than life so that you can project to the back wall. And what I love most about a venue like this is it's an intimate conversation with the audience. You can be exactly who you are. You don't need to be larger in order to project.
Well, let's test that out. Let's give Paul a chance to play some music here at the Wayne and at the Gateway, and we'll give Paul a chance to play a couple of songs.
This is a song I wrote with kids in Nashville, and it started off. I asked, I walk in and I said, well, "What do you want to write about today?" And by the time I got around to calling on this kid who'd had his hand up for a while, he said, "Oh, I can't remember. I forgot." And I said, "Man, what a great idea for a song." And we started talking about grandparents who forget things. And I told him the story about my late wife's father as he was getting on in years, and they were having this very serious conversation with each other one night. All of a sudden he grabbed her hand and looked up at her and said, "Well, tell me something. I feel a great love for you, but who are you?" And I told the kids that story, and that story made it into this song. And this song became the inspiration for one of our Kid Pan Alley programs, which is called Across the Ages. And it's our intergenerational program where we bring together senior citizens from the community. And I'm talking people, in their 80s and 90s, and even people up to, we've had someone as old as 103. They tell stories to the kids about what life was like when they grew up, which was long before television, the great homogenizer of culture. And then the kids write songs about their stories, and then the kids tell stories to the elders, and the elders write songs about that. And so this song became the inspiration for that project. And if people want to find out more about Kid Pan Alley, they can visit our website, which is kidpanalley.org. Anyway, this is called I Can't Remember, I Forgot. To brush my teeth, to change my socks. I know there's something I should have done, like send a card or call someone. Seems like I do this a lot. Oh, I can't remember, I forgot. Hello, what's your name? My grandson Willie. You don't say. You and your papa look the same, and I'm so glad you came by today. my teeth, to change my socks. I know there's something I should have done, like send a card or call someone. Seems like I do this a lot. Oh, I can't remember, I forgot. Well, I don't have much to say. I don't know sports or the latest craze, but I know time is slipping away, and I'm so glad you came by today. Oh, my head is bald and my hearing's gone, my memory's shot, the days seem long, though sometimes I can't remember who. I'm glad you're here to help me through. Seems like you've been here a lot. Oh, you remember, yes, you remember, I forgot. Of course, I always tell my songwriting students to have a tape recorder and their notebook with them, and here I was trekking through Nepal with neither, with 3 weeks to walk through the Annapurna Mountains, where we were getting up to about 14,000 feet. And this piece came out of the rhythm of the river, which tumbled over these house-side boulders fairly incessantly, and from the fact that I'd just been in South India and I'd been studying mandalam, which is a drum that they use in Kathakali theater in Kerala, India. And so I was practicing these rhythms on my thighs, going taka-taka to tak-tak, taka-taka, taka-ding, taka-ding, that kind of thing, and watching the water and having to walk very carefully because the path was cut into the side of the mountain, and you could take 2 steps in this direction and 3 in this direction and 1 in that direction. So this piece has a lot of time changes in it, reflecting really what was happening to us as we were walking along. It's named after the river. It's called Marshandi.